Shalom. The Parsha for this week is Chayei Sarah, or the life of Sarah. The reading text is in Genesis 23, 1 to chapter 25, 18. The summary of this Parsha is about Abraham purchasing the cave of Machpelah in order to bury his wife Sarah in Genesis 23, 1 to 20. And Abraham sends his servant to find a bride for Isaac in 24, 1 to 9. Rebekah shows her kindness by offering to draw water for the servant's camels at the well in chapter 24, 15 to 20. And the servant meets Rebekah's family and then takes Rebekah to Isaac, who marries her in chapter 24, 23 to 67. And the last part of it is Abraham takes another wife named Keturah. At the age of 175 years, Abraham dies, and Isaac and Ishmael bury him in the cave of Machpelah, written in Genesis 25, 1 to 11. When do we read this Parsha? It is for the week of November 15 for this year, 2014, or 22 Heshvan, 5775 of the Hebrew calendar. Also next year on November 7th, 2015, or 25 Heshvan, 5776 of the Hebrew calendar. And 2016, November 26 of 2016, or 25 Heshvan, 5777, and so forth and so on. The theme is Genesis 23:1, and Sarah lived to be 127 years old, such was the span of Sarah's life. Thus the name of the Parsha, Chayei Sarah, or the life of Sarah. It's very interesting about the title of this Parsha, referring to, instead of the death of Sarah, it was referring to the life of Sarah. When Yeshua was confronted by a question from the Sadducees about the resurrection in Matthew 22, 23 to 32, he answered them in verses 29 to 32 that God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is the God of the living and not of the dead. Thus, Sarah, though she is dead here, the name of the Parsha is the life of Sarah, because she is alive as far as the Lord is concerned, spiritually. Chayei Sarah, the life of Sarah. This Parsha illustrates many important lessons. However, I would like to point out about Abraham's acquisition of the cave of Machpelah as a burial site for Sarah, his wife. Upon Sarah's death, Abraham mourned and then made arrangements for Sarah to have a final resting place for her. He approached the Lord of the Hittites, the resident of the land, with humble nobility. He said to them, I am a foreigner living for a time among you. Sell me a grave site among you that I may bury my dead here, according to Genesis 23:4. We have to understand that Abraham already proved himself a powerful military leader. And he could have taken the land by force or freely. If we recall, Elohim made a promise to him that this land belongs to him and to his descendants. Instead, he paid a fair market price. Ephron, the lord of the Hittites, negotiated with Abraham according to the pattern known from ancient Near East sources. It was in Abraham's interest to purchase the land contractually in good faith, even though it was given to him by God himself, inasmuch as this land given to him, on which he could just easily take it away, yet he chose to deal a legal exchange of which he reaped respect among the people of the land. What is very interesting about here is many people accuse the Jewish people of taking the land of Canaan. And in this case, Abraham was living with the Canaanites. And they think that they own it. Or I'm talking about the people of the land, the Hittites, the Jebusites, the Philistines, the Anakites, all of them. But the problem is we don't know and we don't really read the ancient text, which is even farther than this. In ancient text, even in Genesis, it was mentioned in Genesis chapter 10 that at the time of the son of Ever, named Peleg, the earth was divided. Now, this division, people speculates that this is a big earthquake that divided the earth. But this is not the case because even if it was divided, people can still cross the continents because the land bridge was still existing. Some people would speculate that this is the division of tongue because in Genesis 11 it teaches about the change of the languages. But in other ancient texts, such as the book of Jasher and the book of Jubilee, among other things, would speak about a different kind of division. According to these ancient sources, when the earth was divided, it was divided among the sons of Noah between Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And after they decided that they will divide it among themselves in front of their father, they draw a lot. And Japheth got the northern part of the earth where it is cold. And Ham got the southern part of the earth, which is hot. But Shem got the middle earth or the middle part of the earth, and wherein it's neither hot nor cold. And it is very interesting because this is where the best of the land. According to the ancient sources, four major things, the four holy sites of the Middle Earth, Shem was able to get. That is the Garden of Eden, the Mount Sinai, the Mount Zion, which is the Mount Moriah, and the mountain in the east, which is yet to be determined. It could be Mount Ararat or something else. The point here is the land of Canaan belongs to Shem. So when they distributed it among the brothers, they made a pact that they will not cross each other's path. And whoever will do so, sword will never depart from him. The first family member who actually crossed the line is Canaan, the youngest son of Ham. When he was leaving his father, he saw the land that is really beautiful and rich in many things. And he settled there and he called it as land of Canaan. When Ham and the brothers of Canaan realized it, that he did an evil thing, they approached him and chastised him and rebuked him for doing so and asked him to leave, and yet he refused. So therefore, Canaan was cursed by his own father Ham and his brothers because he took the possession of the land that belongs to Shem. So even this early, we know that the Canaanites stole what belongs to Shem. And Shem um, gave it to Ever, and Ever gave it to Abraham. And Abraham gave it to Isaac, and Isaac gave it to Jacob. But God gave it to Abraham as well when he asked Abraham to go to the land that he's going to show him. And that is the land that belongs to Shem. So we have to realize that even though Abraham owns the land, or it has been his inheritance, and yet he bought it with money so that there will be peace in the land. This is the same thing that the Zionists did in the 1940s, late 30s and early 40s, when they started to buy the land in Israel, which they call the land of Palestine. They bought it. They a lot of Arabs sold it to the Jews, and now they hated their own action and they hated the Jews for it. But the Jews owns the land even from the very start. So we have to understand the background of the Middle East conflict. Israel is not a land grabber. It was Canaan who first grabbed the land that belongs to Shem, and he was cursed. That's why we can see that the sword never left that land. And I hope this little Parsha would have helped you in your spiritual walk with the Lord. And when we do our study, we have to go back as far as we can go to understand the background of the biblical passages. Shalom.